So guys, today I want to share a delicious, fluffy buttermilk biscuit recipe. Gina, na mama biscuits, as Martin would say. These biscuits are so delicious, you guys, and they're super easy to make. Now in a big bowl, I took some all-purpose flour, and I'm gonna grab my cheese grater, girl, and then I'm gonna grab 1 stick of frozen butter. You wanna make sure your butter is frozen solid. Stick it in the freezer a couple of hours beforehand so it can be nice and solid. And we're just gonna grate this butter in our flour. This is an awesome trick when you're making pastries and dough and you need to cut butter into flour. This right here, game changer. So next I'm just gonna take a fork and kind of work that butter into my flour, and then I'm going to add in some baking powder and salt, and I'm going to continue to work that all together until it's mixed well. Next I'm going to form a well in the middle of my flour, and then I'm going to pour in 1 cup of cold buttermilk. Now if you don't have buttermilk, just take some whole milk. Take 1 cup of whole milk, add in 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, stir it up, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and there you have your buttermilk. Actually, that's what I used. I didn't use store-bought buttermilk. I made my own buttermilk. And then we're going to take that fork and start to work that flour into that buttermilk until a nice soft dough forms. And then we're going to take our dough and we're going to put it on our work area, our workspace. And then we're going to push this dough out. You don't want to roll it out. You want to gently push this dough out into a rectangle shape. And then we're going to take it and we're going to fold it into thirds. We're going to do this a few times. We're going to do this about 3 or 4 times. And what this does is it builds those flaky layers into those biscuits. Girl. You want to be really gentle with your dough. You don't want to be too rough like you're making pizza dough or anything. Just think of it as a baby. You got to be really gentle. So we're just going to push it out this last time, and then we're going to fold it into thirds. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of flour to my work area because my dough was starting to stick, just a little bit. So next I'm going to take a rolling pin and I'm going to roll my dough out. You want to be nice and gentle. Now I should have put a towel under my cutting board because girl, it was slipping and sliding everywhere. I just didn't want to have to grab a towel. I didn't want to have to touch anything. So you're just going to roll your dough out to at least a 1/2 inch. Now I may have left my dough a little bit thicker because I wanted some nice fluffy thick biscuits, but you want to at least roll it out to a 1/2 inch. Now I'm using the lid of a mason jar to cut out my biscuits. You got to use what you got. I don't have a biscuit cutter, but this worked perfectly, so I'm not looking for one. I'm gonna bake these in a cast iron skillet. I added some parchment paper and I placed my biscuits in my skillet. And you wanna make sure your biscuits are touching, you know, at least touching a little bit, because that's gonna help them rise in the oven. Now once you have your biscuits in your skillet or whatever you're baking them on, you wanna hit them with a little bit of buttermilk on the top so they can get nice and brown. Now girl, I ran out of buttermilk. I ran out of butter and I ran out of buttermilk. So I'm just using some plain Greek yogurt to brush over the tops of them. I know that's the only thing I could think of, but I wanted to make sure it got nice and brown. So we're gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven at 425, and we're gonna let them bake for about 13 to 15 minutes. Once they come out of the oven, you wanna go ahead and brush some butter on top so those tops can get nice and soft. Girl, I ran out of butter, so I'm using Smart Balance. But it worked, you guys. They came out delicious, so I'm not complaining. Look. Girl, them biscuits are soft, fluffy. I was so proud of these biscuits. Now, Hilltop Apiary sent me a box of honey. You guys, there's so many different flavors. We have cinnamon honey, wildflower honey, chocolate honey. I've never even heard of chocolate honey. Well, besides myself. And strawberry honey. So many different flavors to try out. You guys should definitely check out Hilltop Apiaries. I'll leave the link to them in my description box. But today, I'm going to use their habanero honey. I'm going to take a little bit and drizzle it over this crispy fried piece of chicken and slap it between a biscuit. I am so proud of these flaky, delicious, fluffy biscuits. Gina, no, mama biscuits. Yum.